So I'm gonna be completely honest. When I first saw the thumbnail for this trailer, I really thought it was AI. I thought surely they are not releasing the fucking teaser for this prequel. Literally, not even like a week after that abomination of a finale. But no, they in fact did release the Vought Rising trailer, which, funny enough, season five, the finale of the main show, one of the biggest shows on Amazon, they fucked that up just so they can rush into this Soldier Boy prequel, which it's funny that Soldier Boy at this point's getting his own show because I feel like if you had told people back when season three came out that he was going to get his own show, people would have been like, "Oh fuck yeah, Soldier Boy!" Because Soldier Boy, I would say, out of the whole show, was like one of the best characters that people loved when he first showed up. But now people are just like, "Oh fuck, Soldier Boy!" Like season five, it's so wild how they use Soldier Boy to set up Vought Rising for the prequel. But then in the process of doing that, fucking torpedoed the main show and then fuck people's love for Soldier Boy to the point now that they don't even give a fuck about seeing him in the show because they're like, well, you ruined your main show. And then they ruined Soldier Boy's character. And then now we're supposed to be interested in this prequel, which has absolutely nothing to do with the boys' universe, at least the main boys' universe. So it's a wild situation that this show is in. Of like, if this had come out years ago, it had been like a really excited show for people to look forward to. But now people are just like, really, you killed the main show for this? And Soldier Boy is also funny because in the current day of the boys' universe, he is just in a fucking fridge for the third time. He's been in a fridge for three times, and that's really all his purpose seems to be. Is like when they need Soldier Boy for a MacGuffin or for some plot reason, hey, let's unthaw Soldier Boy. And then when we need him, take him out, and when we don't, put him back in. So I'm guessing that this prequel show, because there's the boys Mexico, that's we don't know what the hell that's going to be about. But that's coming out in the future. We have this prequel. So I think it's safe to say now that The Boys just full on become what it had been parroting and satiring this whole time. It is its own unironic cinematic universe. The VCU is actually a fucking real thing now. Like, I'm sure, because if it's not, this show makes no sense because the main show's over. And I doubt that the boys Mexico is going to have anything to do with the main boys. So it's like, okay, what's the point of having a prequel show for a series that has already ended? The big villain, the big bad Homelander is dead, and the main cast of the boys are dead or you know going on about their lives. And this is set in the 50s, so like not only does it have no plot relevance, but like 99% of the main characters from the main show and even the other side show like Gen V aren't even born yet. So this really can't have any actual bearing on the story. And the issue is too, because they've waited till the end of the show, it's going to be kind of hard for them to add all of this retroactive lore to the history of Vought and Soldier Boy because they've already fucked this up this season because they already retconned the whole relationship with Clara or Stormfront, whatever her name is. They've already retconned that so it could be in line with the prequel. So I feel like this show is just going to end up again torpedoing the show by destroying or just fucking retconning all of the shit we've heard or learned about just so it can fit in with this new lore that they want to establish. And it would be one thing if Soldier Boy was going to be a main character, like this would have worked if throughout all of season five, Soldier Boy, like he's based off of Captain America, if he had been positioned because I think that would have been a really cool end for Soldier Boy. That like he helps the boys take out Homelander, and he decides, you know what, I'm actually wanting to do something like be a real hero, actually do something meaningful instead of just fucking my life off. Yeah, I'm actually gonna make a team or something. Yeah, he could have done something, and it would have made sense. Like, okay, like in the present day, Soldier Boy is like one of the main protagonists, and we can see his history, and we could like tie it. If they had actually written this show properly, had any planning for season five, instead of just whatever the fuck that ended up being, they could have had a both balance of having the setup for the prequel, where you could have sprinkled in, like, I mean, I will say this: I am not really on board with the prequel. Not that I'm against it, but I just feel like the fact that they sacrificed the show for the main show, I'm just not a fan of. But I did like Bombsight. and I liked his relationship and his reaction to Soldier Boy. And he seemed out of all the suits we've seen in the boys, I feel like Bombsight's one of the the more weirdly normal characters. I'm sure they're gonna fuck him up in the prequel because I think he was like a junkie for a while. But like the you know what's kind of crazy? I think Bombsight might end up having the same Soldier Boy treatment, where like he was initially a like character, and then as the show goes on, they're gonna fuck up his character. I hope not, because he was only in one episode, and honestly, I remember watching that episode, and after Soldier Boy depowered him, I was like, shit, I would have loved to have just left Homelander, Soldier Boy, Huey, leave all them behind. Fuck that. Let's just follow Bombsight. Let's just see what he's doing. Let's see what his shenanigans are up to because it would have been a whole lot better than what the fuck we got. So they could have sprinkled in like Bombsight stuff from Soldier Boy's past, but if they had centered him as a main character with his own actual goals, objectives, and his own character to build on and develop, this sequel or prequel could have actually been very rewarding. It could have had a lot of payoffs, or it could have like set up payoffs that we might see in the future. But because they did not have any fucking foresight plan, I don't know what they were. I'm really curious to see the behind the scenes of this season because out of all the seasons, I feel like this had to be the worst season. And on top of that, it's not the fact that it's just a bad, disappointing shit show of a finale, but it's a shit show of a finale at the expense of a prequel that really nobody asked for, with a character who the show has unintentionally fucking ruined people on for characters who are not going to have it. Because, like, all these characters we see in the trailer, they look interesting. Like I forget her name, the blonde chick with the hot nurse outfit. They it looks like there's some interesting concepts and ideas, but the issue for me is, it's not going to matter because what we know, Bombsight is going to be alive in the present day. We know Gish is going to be alive. We know, like, that's the other thing is we know so much of this show can't have an effect on anything. So for me, it's just like I don't really find this show to gonna be. I don't really find the show is gonna be having anything really meaningful to it. Like I doubt we're gonna see this show and be like, oh wow, like that really added to the boys' universe, or wow, that really added to Soldier Boy or whoever's character. Because none of the characters, except for that I'm aware of, like I think Stan Edgar was around back then, and of course people are saying that the end of the show is probably going to be Stan Edgar, in a lab somewhere, saying like, all right, the Homelander project, it's a go. Although this is a segue, and this might have been discussed, but I thought about this after the finale. Is there a reason why that Vought or anyone else back in the day didn't like try to make like a race of super soldiers? What I mean by that is they used Soldier Boy's DNA to make Homelander. And the plan seemed to be once they got Homelander to just, fuck off Soldier Boy. But like, why would you just stop that? Like, if you could make one, you would think that they would want to try their best, especially after they saw like how well his powers were developing as a kid, Homelander. You would think they would want to try to actually build on that and like make a race of Homelanders, but no. But also, again, it's another issue of the show of Vought has just become a fucking another stupid, evil, doesn't have any actual plans. Like it's just another evil corporation that's just fucking stupid. Because they made Homelander this seemingly, I say in highly loose quotations, indestructible super weapon, Superman essentially, and they had no fucking like safeguards, fail saves, kills, nothing, and they didn't even like have other Homelanders in case what happened to Homelander, and he became a fucking unhinged psychopathic narcissist who wanted to fucking destroy everything. They had nothing. So it was like, man, Jesus Christ. Like, again, if they had actually in the previous seasons, maybe they did, but I really don't remember them saying why like they couldn't do that, or like at least why back then they wouldn't have tried to do that to make more. Because I mean, they can see the results of Homelander, and like Homelander was the goal. Because Stan Edgar said that we sold you to the Soviets because your son Homelander showed a whole lot more promise than you ever did. So it was like, okay, let's just make a fucking race of super soldiers. And it would also be in line with since it was a Nazi scientist. that made Compound V, it would have been in line with the whole Nazi ideology of making, the I forgot the name, I think it was the lesbian born program, where the Nazis would kidnap children from Scandinavian countries to convert them into Nazis for their super race. It would have been in line with the whole idea with the Compound V is to make like race of super soldiers. But no, he unfortunately didn't get that. But that would have been, I think, a kind of an interesting uh, history there to explore of like them trying to make other Homelanders or Soldier Boys with varying success. I mean, the fact, if fucking Frenchie, respectfully, if he could replicate that Soviet explosive bomb thing that they gave to Soldier Boy, I have no idea why Vought, with their endless resources, could not replicate some insane shit like that. So that to me, I found kind of weird as the show kept going, especially as they kept like talking about how like Soldier Boy was like the golden poster child of heroes, and then they got rid of him for Homelander. It's like, oh, just keep making more, but they didn't. That was just my little side tangent there. But back to our great Vought Rising we have. It doesn't look bad. I mean, it looks like the boys as it's been for a few years with all the excessive gore, all the excessive violence, the hypersexualization. It's pretty much the standard shit for the boys. It would have been nice. See, I would have liked this trailer a lot more if this was entirely different from the main show. Like it was a whole different like feel to it, atmosphere. But it just feels like, oh, this is just the boys in the 50s, probably with the same crass humor, same degenerate sexual shit going on. It's just probably going to be World War II, 50s, 40s Vought with the same skin of the current show, and no Homelander. Pretty much all the stuff that made the main show good is just going to be watered down and flanderized in this show. But maybe it'll be good. I mean, it looks well made. I can give it that. Like I said, I like Bombsight, but I don't have faith that they're going to keep his character consistent, or not even consistent, but keep him a likable character. After Soldier Boy, I'm very skeptical of their ability to do that. So yeah, we'll have to see in 2027 what the Vought Horizon is going to look like. But yeah, those are my little 2 cents on the good old Vought Rising. As Soldier Boy said, it's what Clara would have wanted. So we will be getting Vought Rising in 2027. So we will have to see if this is going to be another disaster or if it's actually surprisingly good. But that's going to be enough for me on this. And until next time, I will see you good people next time.